folks. Got oil, got pump, got camera girl?
Sure have.
Excellent. Welcome back folks. Today we're going to do something with the Triumph Scrambler. It's summertime, we're out playing in the sun, and this is the time to fine tune things like your suspension when you've got the opportunity to ride, to feel how it feels, and to do those little adjustments to your suspension front and rear that make it just right for how you want to ride it most. Now, a little while ago, as you know, we put the YSS suspension on the rear. They are super adjustable. In the last 1,000 or so miles, is that right, something?
Yep, about
something
that.
like that. We've been fine tuning them, taking a couple of screwdrivers with us and making those little adjustments to get them exactly right. Now that we've tuned them and they are perfect and they're exactly how she wants them, now that's highlighted the front as being a little bit stodgy. Was it you called it?
A little bit, yeah.
It's stodgy and a little bit stiff for what it is, and I think it is down to the fork oil. It's running 10 weight fork oil, which was designed for the Scrambler, which is a potentially off-road bike, kind of, and I think it's time we fine-tuned that. There is a method. I'll show you how it's done. Stay tuned. Right, so fundamentally what this is a fork oil change. That's what we're going to do to fine-tune the forks on the front. There's no damping adjustment in the front forks whatsoever. And so therefore, as you can't adjust it, you've got to physically change it. That's the only way we can alter the damping in there at the moment. And with a 10 weight oil in there, that's way too stodgy and stiff. So we're going to blend up an oil that's a little bit lighter. We're going over to a better quality oil. We're using the Rock Oil SVI, and we're going to make it not 5, not 10, but something in between. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. For now, we're going to get the cap off and suck the old oil out. It's 5 years old. Let's see how nasty it is. Right, now as you saw at the beginning of the video, take the front wheel off the deck so you've extended the fork as far as possible and there's no weight on it. And because this bike's lowered quite severely, there's no push up coming up on this, and I've wound all the preload off. So that's the best way. If you've got any preloader on your forks, always wind all of it off to release as much of the spring weight as possible before you take the cap off. And if the cap is under any pressure at all when it's coming off, put a cloth over it so it doesn't end up in your forehead. Look at that fork oil. Can't wait to see that. That's it. Okay. Alright, get yourself one of these if you want from Celia. I'll put a link underneath the video. They're really inexpensive and you'll use them for a lot more than just sucking oil out of your forks. Somebody said to me in the last video I used one of these that he used it to empty the toilet system when he was doing a plumbing job in the house. So honestly, it's just a useful little thing. There we go. Your pump on top, screws in there. That just fits like a rubber bung, literally. Just tape it in, just wedge it in, screw the little pump on top, and that just extracts the air from the bottle itself. And that little piece of tube, you get a thick tube and a thin tube. I guess it depends what you're doing. You only need the thin one to get to the bottom of the fork leg, and it's got a thick piece of tubing on the end of it to wedge into there, like that. Wedges in there, and then now that will suck the oil out. Right, you'll feel a step at a certain point where the tube hits the top of the damper rod. Just fish about, there it is, there, and you'll get down the middle. If you imagine about 2/3 of the way down here, there's a taper. The hole gets smaller as you go in the top of the damper rod, and you've got to get that oil out that's down the bottom. So just fish around and get that tube all the way down, just be sure. If you're not sure, take it back out again and measure how far down it went. It wants to go down to about 6 inches from the bottom. That's about as far as you're going to get. And that's where it is. Wedge that in. And just pump the oil out. I think we got it right. Proper chocolate. There we go. Right. Right, there we are. We have just over 400 mils of, well, chocolate sauce, I think, Pen. What do you reckon?
Don't look good, does it?
Check that out. Nasty. Now, that doesn't smell sulphurous, but it doesn't smell nice either. And it's kind of weird how it clings to the side of the jug. Anyway, what it is just over 400 mils of the factory oil, and I'm going to replace it with a blend of 200 of the 10 and 200 of the 5, and hopefully that will give us a lighter oil, but not so light that the bike starts to come uncomfortable in the other direction. So let's open this up. Let's get the 10 in first. 400 came out. There we are. 200 mils of 10. See a childproof cap?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, and bring it up the same. There we are. That's it. There we are. Let's do the other side. That's it. Gotta wash this, it's flat. Spacer. There he goes. That's it. There he goes. Excuse me. Right, that'll do. What I want to do is show exactly how far down the tube or down the fork leg that's going over there. Now, that's where it is. If we measure that as the point where it's gone down to. If you come in this side pen, we'll measure with this fork leg. That's the point where it went into. So that's how far down we've gone, almost right to the very bottom. So how much oil is likely to be left in there? I reckon 5%, if that. But to be honest, to get any more oil out of this now, you're going to have to take the fork leg out, upend it overnight. You might get 5 cc's more, 5 mils more. You might get 10 mil more if you take the fork leg apart and dry everything, but honestly it's how much work you want to put into it. We're just changing this oil to lighten it up. Once I've put all the oil in and it's all set and I know that that blend of oil 50-50 works fine, then at that point I can drop the forks out if I really want to, measure them, take them out, stand them upright, collapse them down without the spring in and measure the exact amount from the settings in the manual, so I can set that level absolutely correct. But I'm replacing what came out with what I'm putting back in exactly the same level. So at the moment I'm not changing the fork oil level and it was absolutely fine up to this point. Factory levels. It's never leaked, so it shouldn't be any different. Now, because I've only got 2 jugs and I need one to put the new stuff in, I'm going to put this in to there. That's got literally 400 mils almost exactly in there, so we'll upend that now and we'll see how much that goes up to and whether that goes up to 800. Pretty much bang on. There we are. There it is. There it is. fine tune those in a minute. Right, okay, so you can see what I'm doing there. I've mixed 50-50 of 10 and 5 weight. Now, yeah, I know loads of you are going to be shouting, we'll just buy some 7.5. Of course I could do that, absolutely, but I'm not sure that that would be exactly correct. So I bought a litre of each. I've used 400 mils of each, and at this point that's 50-50, and I'm happy with that. If that works out, then that's great. I can drain that stuff out. That will flush out any of the last old stuff that still remains in there, and then I can put in a fresh amount to the exact level by taking the fork leg out of the bike, collapsing it down with nothing inside it but the oil, and then measuring the right level, doing it properly. For now that's okay because I've put in exactly what I took out. The reason that I'm mixing this and not buying 7.5 weight is that it may not be 50-50 correct. If that's still a little bit stiff, then I've got enough left here to have another go at it and try 60-40 or 75-25. You see the point? I'm trying to blend up some fork oil that gives us exactly the right damping in the forks to match the wonderful, perfect damping that we've got on the rear. Trying to fine tune this so it's a really nice handling bike. We've spent a lot of money on the wheels, on the sports bike tyres. We've got 180 section tyre on the rear, 120 17-inch rims front and rear. This is set up to be a really nice handling bike. So getting this right, getting these basic, simple, unadjustable forks to perform perfectly is a bit of an art. We've got the progressive springs, and now hopefully we've got the damping right as well. I'll let you know. We'll have to report back on that, won't we, Ken?
We will.
There we are. Okay, we chose rock oil, SVI 5 and 10. Got it from Wemoto, British made. I think Penny likes that, don't you?
I do.
British oil. Give them a I'll pop a link underneath to all of it. The oil I got from both. How much was that?
£8.70 a bottle.
Okay, £8.70 a litre, so 16 quid this is going to cost me, but it gives me 2 fork oil changes, so if necessary, club together with a mate and you'll have one each. And also the same with the oil suction pump as well. I'll pop a link underneath to that so you can do this sort of thing yourself if you want to. Any questions, pop them underneath. This is a little experiment. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing here. I don't know how that's going to come out. I'm going to test ride it, make sure it's safe, and I'll give it to the lady who owns it and see what she thinks of it, because she's the one with 7,000 miles under her belt on this bike. She knows how it will feel. So there you go. Anything else, Ben?
Have a super Saturday.
Super Saturday indeed. There we go. Thank you for watching. Take it easy, ride safe. See you next time.